blew my pulley apart. You know, that's really not that bad. I'll find a two-step pulley somewhere. I mean, shoot, worst case, I guess I could make one. The pulley, well, the pulley was sacrificed when the slitting saw jammed. Bad things happen when a slitting saw jams. That was the very first time I've ever tried to cut steel. Who knows? I was not using power feed. I was using a slow hand feed rate, extremely slow, and now we're in need of repair. I'm going to go ahead and just take this single pulley here. I'm going to take the single pulley and we're going to turn this down so that these end up being flush to one another. Basically an orientation like such, except that this middle section here will be removed. That's pretty good. So I just had to use a file and give ourselves an extra flat there. And this one goes like that. This one goes like this. All right, here's 62 RPMs. All right, you can't see it, but down at the bottom of this cut, I just have the last little bit left. We've dropped down and we're gonna slip underneath the collar here of the arbor, so we'll be able to make that pass. I had to move this clamp this way just a little tiny bit. I wish I could move it more and get you guys into a better spot where you can see it come through. Well, we got 2 cuts made, and that's all the cuts we'll ever get with this this cutter. See, this cutter has a massive design flaw, and I'm sure some of you are probably like, yeah, it's easy to tell. But, you know, as a beginner, you want to try to be resourceful and learn at the same time, and I was trying to, well, I was trying to cut a corner. I was trying to cut a corner, and it bit me in the ass. So, let's talk about why this is no longer going to be used. So I'm putting a piece of paper underneath here so that you can take a look at that. Obviously the internal stress in the metals, you know, it started to relax, and when it did that, it decided to pinch. So it inevitably pinched the blade, grabbed this, and bent it right at the threaded portion, which, you know, you can see that that's, yeah. Lesson learned. Overall, I'm not really that upset. I mean, yeah, this is kind of a bust. Maybe I could pop this I could turn the OD, no, that's not going to work. Just hang it up. I'll put it on the shelf for now. But there's a 20 thou difference from the front of the cut to the back of the cut. And you would think, oh, it's opening up, but it actually pinched in here. So it grabbed the blade, and I was almost done. I had just a little tiny bit left, and I'm assuming that that was holding it in place, you know, as I went along, and that little tiny bit that was left, finally it gave in on that. So we lost that, and I actually had to finish. There was just a tiny little portion on the underneath here at the very bottom. I had to finish that off with a hacksaw. So lesson learned, and I'm still happy. I got my 2 cuts that are done. I'll just, yeah. Cleans up nice, doesn't it? You know what would have made this really easy? A rotary table. Don't have one, so that grinder and a file go a long way. I still need to cut a slot here and cut out this section here. That will allow me to have my my bolts. So I still need to drill holes, 4 holes total. We're almost there. We'll go ahead and clean this up. It's really not important in terms of the thickness of this. So if I come down below the mark that I've scribed, it's no big deal. And we're just cleaning it up, straightening it out. Alright, we're just drilling the holes. I already marked them out. I got a little punch. I've got to drill 2 holes for both 1/2-inch plates. Just wanted to show my setup here on the drill press. So we got the parallel here, and we've got our part clamped in place. Go ahead and put some drill bits in here, and we'll drill it out. I'm going to do that off camera. You probably don't want to watch drilling holes. I wasn't planning on this when I first milled this down with that thickness, and I said it didn't matter. I had to drill out this section large enough to fit my tap down in there, so it passes through, and then I can tap this lower section. Otherwise the tap won't reach far enough down. So, you know, when you're designing on the fly, you gotta kind of have to adapt here a little bit, but we'll be okay. All right, we got the holes drilled, ready for disassembly here. First time taking these 2 apart. Need a little cleanup. The table is extended away from the machine as far as possible, and you can see we don't reach the edge, so there will be some limitation on the use of the machine unless I move the head further out, which I mean further back, which I can do. I don't really feel like trying to tram this in anymore. I've got this just so, and maybe one day. 50 thou. Actually, let's go a full 100. Why not? How about that? Well, there it is. We got a fully converted horizontal mill into a vertical mill. Definitely need to get a vise so I can bring down that knee. That's way up in the sky there. We'll bring that down once we get another vise installed on that one. Hope you enjoyed this. Maybe it gives you some ideas if you've got an old machine and you want to make a conversion. Those 2 half plates seem to be okay. We'll find out more as time goes on. Take some cuts on heavier material. Oh, well, we can't just leave yet. We've got to try a piece of steel.